That's my.
You can still play it. It's fine. It's a good song.
That was my live stream. This
We
is
got
our theme song.
Sean. Sean's here. I wonder if he's waiting like this.
Yeah,
Just
he is.
watching.
He just watches us just like this, with
He's
like little heart emojis above his head. All right, I'm gonna scroll this down. I just wanted to get to the we got to get to the hook.
Yeah, the hook's the best part.
Ready? Please on the line.
Best song we never made.
That is the best song we never made. That was 100% AI. If you guys don't know. So if you guys want a theme song for your live stream, you can do it with AI. We
It's
actually
literally like under 30 seconds. It's crazy.
We even have a lot of AI tools that we use within our course. But what we're talking about today? Do you even know?
Do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vid Summit and social media conferences are way better than real estate conferences.
All right. So I have been a real estate agent since 2007, maybe 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. Is that when I got my license? And the first thing I was told to do is get my ABR. And the next thing I was told to do was to go to all the real estate conferences that I could go to. And I went to all the NAR conferences. I went to conferences that were put on by other brokerages. I went to them all. And I went to my first social media conference in 2019. And that was when the first time I realized my marketing strategy was so off from where it needed to be. I knew a lot of stuff. Like I knew, because I taught myself how to do a lot of these things, because social media was new in 2008. It was new. Yeah. So I had to kind of learn for myself. But I would go to some of these classes for social media from like these big brands, and they were way behind, way behind. And it wasn't until I went to Vid Summit for the very first time I realized, wow, I felt like I fast forwarded 4 years and I had to play catch up because there was so much to learn. I really feel like agents are getting it more now than they ever have. But every single person that I've ever told to go to Vid Summit or any social media marketing conference, the first thing they say when they come back, I should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
Should have done it years ago. There is so much more to learn from people that are not in this industry that you can apply to this industry. There's so many more strategies than ones that have been repeated to you by other real estate agents. So we actually have a special guest on today. I didn't tell you this.
You didn't tell me.
Hey. It's our newest mom. Our first real estate geek baby has been born. Virtually live on the live.
Yeah, I was going to say, we do almost like on the live stream, right?
So this is Rebecca. If you guys don't know, she's out of near Dallas, Texas, correct?
Yes, North Dallas.
And she wanted to talk about she said she doesn't have much to participate in these kind of conferences, but you could talk about real estate conferences and what you've gotten out of them.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about it.
I think when I first joined and got involved in real estate, it was kind of eye-opening to see the different strategies and ideas that people had surrounding marketing and what they were doing to generate business. Mm-hmm. But I think now that I've gone to a handful, both of them have been Keller Williams related. So I can't say anything about like the Tom Ferry Summit or anything like that. But just in those two conferences, because they have Family Reunion and a Mega Agent Camp, been to both of those, and they were kind of like, take a couple of ideas, implement them, see what you can kind of do with it. More beneficial, I feel like, for the newer agents that are kind of just getting started, to be honest, because, open houses, I mean, I don't know. There's a couple of new tricks, right? It's kind of the same thing. There's nothing, even in the YouTube space, where they or social media marketing space or sections where they would talk about it. It wasn't, the information about YouTube probably was mostly incorrect. I would probably say, even with some of the bigger YouTubers in the real estate space talking about it, the way they presented it just wasn't
True.
it either wasn't true or wasn't, they were talking to people that were maybe at this level versus just getting started. And I feel like there's a huge gap between someone who's never started a YouTube channel and someone who has done it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, or whatever the case may be, or they've seen other people do it in their space. So there is a difference for sure when it comes to, I think, what you're receiving from those conferences in regards to social media, and it might not all be true. So that is a really good point to bring out.
I think the last real estate conference I went to, they had a real estate YouTube expert on stage, and they were speaking about YouTube, but the context that they were delivering the information was something that would have been relevant in 2000.
Yeah, it's old information.
2015. And that person also inflated numbers that weren't true. And because it was such a new thing to everybody else, they didn't know that you could really check on those numbers. And
Right.
I think that's the most disappointing, because I feel like as real estate agents, we get $500 to death. They'll say, oh, buy this for $500. Go watch this for $500. Join my course for $500. Everything's $500 to death. And then when you get in there, there's no real substance, or it's outdated information that worked for them 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Everything changes on social media all the time. The products that they offer within YouTube change all the time. Where certain locations were important 2, 3, 4 years ago mean absolutely nothing today. And that's where I find that whenever you go to a conference, a real estate conference, it's missing the fact that some of this information they're giving you is old. It worked for them 4 years ago, but it's not going to work like that today. So you're putting people up, you're setting them up with all these expectations of results that can't happen because what they're teaching them is outdated. And
Or
then
it's one thing to know. So, and this is coming from my teaching background. It's one thing to know how you're doing YouTube, and it's another completely other different thing on teaching it. Because you may be the best engineer in the world, but if you suck at teaching, like, it's not going to convey to your students. So I think there's a disconnect there as well. So having the right person teach you is also super important, or just people that kind of, I feel like, know more of where you're coming from or getting at, or they do it full time, which is what a lot of the other conferences with the social media marketing would probably be geared towards, versus just, this is something they do in addition to real estate.
Right. Well, that was the biggest thing that I learned in 2019, is that when I went there and I started listening to these people that do it full time, I'm like, I'm doing everything wrong, like everything, because everything I ever learned about social media came from real estate related areas, whether it be a conference or a class that I took online. I only took one other class from a YouTube guru, but it wasn't anything different that I hadn't heard from other real estate teachers. So I was blown away. And I was so thankful, because I'm like, that ticket was super expensive for me at the time, especially with flying there, hotels, the whole 9 yards. But when I got back home and then I started closing deals and things became a lot easier, and I wasn't wasting time on things that I was told that were super important, I was so relieved, but kind of ticked off, because I spent so much money on tickets to go to all these real estate conferences. They're supposed to have the best in the business for this specific topic that they're talking about, and they don't have the best. And I don't know how they end up on stage. That's the part that makes me upset when I go to a real estate conference. is that they don't have the best at that thing that they're talking about on stage. They don't have the best ones.
Well,
Fresh-
I don't think that that's their main focus either.
Yes.
You know,
Marketing
I think
is
that's the
our
problem.
business.
yeah, they're looking at it like,
What's the ROI?
yeah,
the
how do
biggest
I get people here? What's trigger points that are going to get them here? How do I sell tickets, and how do we create this fun getaway that leave you when you leave and you come back home and you're like,
Rah, rah, rah.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, I don't have an action plan. I don't feel like maybe while you're there, you get to see some friends or people that you've talked to online. But
Mhm.
other than that, like, that's what you paid for. And I think that's the biggest difference is with Vid Summit, you can literally sit down next to someone, have no idea who they are, and you start talking about if you have a channel, if you don't have a channel, what theirs is, and then you get up, go away, and find out they have 10 million subscribers. And they're like someone that is insanely smart, and they're willing to share all of their information, and they have like 100 times, 1,000 times more followers, more experience than the guy on the real estate stage. And it's some kid just sitting in the corner willing to talk to anybody. So one of my very first experience, because I've never gone to an actual real estate conference because I thought they were a waste of money. I'm like, I'm not.
You're required to like in order to get your like rev share or whatever, you have to go.
I think for us, it was more, I was on the leadership council at a certain point, and it was required to go to one.
I'm like, nope. I was with a boutique brokerage. They didn't do it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't need all these ABCs after my name. Like, I'm just going to do what I know. And I'd been going to Vid Summit since 2017 or 2018. I think maybe 2018. And so, and I think I was the only real estate agent there, like literally. I don't think there was any other real estate agent.
I think there was 3 in 2019.
Yeah.
There was nobody.
Yeah, it's like nobody. But the first person that I sat down was Evan Carmichael. Do you know him?
I do.
So I sat down with him and we started talking. I had no idea who this guy was. I didn't know any of this stuff. And he was like the nicest person, just like literally told me like all of these strategies that I could implement and all these things. And I was like, dude, what like motivated this guy to like share all of these things with me? And then, he's like later on, I'm like, oh, he's got like a pretty big following and he's got a lot of people and he's just like the most personable guy. And like, the thing is it wasn't just like a one-off thing. It like every single person that I talked to was like that. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That'd be refreshing.
And then I met Owen Hemiseth, like Owen Video. I met him. His was funny, actually. He like literally was like, so Daryl and I look similar. And so he waits to get in the elevator and he's like, that Daryl Eves is a crooked, like, and I turned around and looked at him and then he starts laughing. And I was like, what the heck? That was my introduction to Owen. And I was like, thanks, dude. Like
something he would do.
It totally was.
Look, there's our circles.
But the thing is that like that was the differences that I found actionable items, like things that they were willing to give from an outside perspective that wasn't in a real estate related, but it was very vital and very on point, and the timing was good for marketing. And that was the difference. Is it wasn't a real estate perspective, it was someone that understood YouTube or social media, Facebook, whatever, wherever they were at. But I walked away and I was like, dude, I literally have like a list of things that I could implement today that I didn't know when I got there.
Yeah, and some of them are so simple, so easy, like easy to do. Like a couple of them at that time, I'm like, well, I can just do that right now. I pulled out my laptop and just made a few little adjustments and it made all the difference. I was like, oh my gosh. And like, let me be clear. If you guys are even thinking about going to Vid Summit, if you're in the Dallas area, first off, the tickets go really fast. Secondly of all, it isn't just YouTube. It's everything. There's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, there's Instagram.
Wow.
And Daryl does not put anybody on stage that does not know what they're talking about. He would never, ever, 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 ever put anybody on that stage that is full of garbage.
Yep.
Never. Because this is his name and he's been
And,
doing this
and,
forever.
and the other thing that they do is that you don't hold anything back. If you're on the stage, you're sharing your secret sauce of how you do what you do.
Right. And they even say, well, I don't tell anybody this, but it's just between me and you. So,
Yeah.
And let me just say this too. If you can't go this year, you can buy the replays. It's just, it's different than the experience than when going there. Just any social media conference I've ever been to, the people that you speak to but in the halls going from class to class, I've gotten a lot from those people. Some of the best classes I've been to were the ones of people that I really wasn't sure of their name, but I saw that they represented a channel that was really big. So I was like, well, who is this manager? Who is this channel manager? Who is their social media manager? And then I look them up and they represent like tons of different channels. So Jeff and all sorts of social media sites. And I was like, I'm going to go listen to that guy. And sure enough, I go into some of these rooms and they'll have maybe 20, 30 people and they're barely anybody. But I look around the room and they're all the biggest social media stars you could think of sitting there listening to that guy. I'm like, well, they're sitting in here listening to that guy for a reason. So I'm in the right spot. It's the ones that you don't know end up being the most beneficial,
Yeah. There's so many different areas that if you're into or what you want to learn more about. And the thing is that they share really good information, and even other people that run big social media events are there. They're there learning from other people. They have people from YouTube that are there, people that are from Instagram, like that work at those places giving information. Like it started out, I don't know if people know this, but it started out with like just a group of a few people that liked YouTube. And it's blown up to this thing what it is now. And
I think Daryl on his live stream was talking, or I guess on Nick's live stream, he was on Nick's live stream talking about you were there. They were talking about how it's different than VidCon, which has become more of a YouTube creator and fan, like meet your creator kind of situation.
Yeah, this is not that. This is like you that's the first thing that'll get you booted out is if you go fanboy against like people that are there. And the thing is that these people will talk to you and you can talk to them. They're normal people just like you and I. The thing is that they're totally open to sharing and giving information. I mean, their whole idea is creators helping creators. So it's not if you're going because you want to meet Mr. Beast or you want to meet Ryan
Trahan.
Ryan Trahan or some of these other then you're going for the wrong reason. But if you're going because you want to learn how to get more business and how to implement that business into your real estate business and use YouTube or other social media, then this is the only conference you need to go to.
Yeah,
I concur.
And it's in Dallas,
right? There are some other ones. There used to be. Do they still have the People of Video? That one was good too. That was a great conference.
I don't know. I know they still do social media
marketing world. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. The guy that I can't remember the guy that runs it. He's at Vid Summit every year. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he actually watched me talk at Vid Summit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, he came up to me. He's like, "You did a really good job," and I'm like, "Oh, his name is slipping my head because
I can't remember.
But I was like, "Oh, Michael Steisner." I said, "Michael Steisner." I'm like, "I know you." He's like, "You know me?" I'm like, "I've only been listening to you for the last 5 years on the podcast." He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "So how did I do?" He's like, "You did great." I'm like, "This is the first time I ever publicly spoke." He was like, "Well, you wouldn't have known." I was like, "Well, fantastic," because I was very nervous. So. And then we talked for a little bit, but that was my like giddy girl moment,
starstruck moment.
Yeah, does he not run social media marketing world anymore?
What's that?
Does he not do that anymore? Social media?
No, he does.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He just has his podcast too, so he does both of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's a good one. That's a really good one. That
Yeah, because he started like the Social Media Examiner and all that stuff, and then
yes,
it just blew up and like
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I used to listen to Social Media Examiner, the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even, if you could even remember their old website, it was such trash. You
Oh
know?
yeah, I remember. Had like the little map and like all the little
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I don't even know who did their design to it. It was literally terrible. But I mean, for the time, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved that podcast. That was great, and it's a good conference.
Yeah, a lot of really good information. I think that's the thing that like when you go somewhere and you feel like you've got the value, that's when it's worth it. And then when you get even more value, then it's like you become a fan, right? And that's I think why we are so passionate about it, is because there's so much that you can learn, and like anything, what you put out, you know, into something, you're going to get that in return. So if you're open and willing to chat with people, like it will change your mind. Like we had Jen Sylvester went last year, and she's like, this is the only conference I'll ever go to again. She's like, she was like, I found my people. She's like, this is the craziest thing. And the thing is it really does open your eyes, because I think as real estate agents, we're kind of in this box and we just have blinders on, and we're like, I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm doing it so well. And I'm, you know, I got 100 views on my video. That's amazing. I'm killing it. And then you see somebody and they're like, oh, I got 25 million views last month. Like it just opens your eyes to so much more. And I think that's yes, the possibilities. Exactly. It's more of like, oh, I haven't set the bar high enough. And then you start asking the questions, well, how did they do that?
Yes.
Like, how did they get there? Like, and then they tell you and you're like, that's genius, but it wasn't that hard. Yeah. That's what I love about it.
I know. And they're such an open book about it, you know? Yeah, I always find those to be great. I always find the ones that aren't like, thank God, I'll just say this, that Daryl doesn't have a bunch of people up there that are selling something like, this is, because we go to real estate conferences, they'll be like, oh, we're going to teach you how to do a CRM. And then you go in there and it's a CRM for this specific company and they want you to buy it, right? Or we're going to show you how to, you know, time block. Oh, but we have this new program that helps you time block better. It's always a pitch for something else.
Yeah. That's good to know.
Daryl does not allow that. No. You can't pitch your book. You can't pitch
anything.
No pitching.
But the thing that's interesting though is that like when you provide real value and you really help people, then they naturally want to, and then it's like you seek them out, you reach out to them, and then because
there's an exhibition there, right? Like an exhibition with
they do have like booths up above, like on the next, like up the second floor, or maybe it's the third floor, where you can go in, but a lot of it is like just giveaway stuff. Like they give you a trial. They have like lights and they have different types of vendors there, but all of it is more of like, hey, he's like, hey, offer value. I don't want you pitching and trying to sell them something. If they come to you and they want something, then yes, you can give them that. But the booths are like very minimal compared to the conference. Like the booth is there so that if you're like, oh, I really want this thing, but mostly the booths are the sponsors that are paying for the venue and all the other stuff like that. It's like the good information, the good things are from the speakers and the workshops.
If you're a real estate agent and you have a YouTube channel and they have the same booth there as last year, there's a tax company there that I got that tax company in touch with the my new accountant guy. So they can work out the tax part of it, because you can.
Yeah, that's a big thing because a lot of creators make a lot of money and they're like, I don't know how to write stuff off with like YouTube, because it's a very unique business.
Yeah, and there are some things that you need to know, and your tax person probably has not seen this before. So get them in touch with the people that are at that booth, so that way they can write off your stuff correctly. There's a fee.
Gotcha.
There's a fee for that, but at least your guy is now trained to do it
Yeah.
The right way.
done.
Right,
So you can
yeah.
save thousands of dollars. Like if you can save thousands of dollars on your taxes, meet with those people. I hope they're there again because I
Yeah.
need to thank them. They really have helped me
Mm.
with last year's taxes. And I was sweating. Joe knows I cried to him a couple times.
It'll be fine. We'll work it out. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
it'll be fine. Just relax, just breathe. And then
Oh.
the other thing too is they're going to have workshops this year. And this was
Yep.
not meant to be just a Vid Summit, blah blah blah. This wasn't a commercial for that. I just really want everybody that's a real estate agent to reconsider going to the real estate conference that you were saving up money for and invest it in going to a social media conference. It doesn't have to be Vid Summit. It could be any of them. I'm just saying you're going to make more money from going to a social media conference than you would be going from a real estate conference. I know this from experience. Everybody I know turned off certain social media stuff that they have been doing because their real estate coach told them that they had to do it and found out that was actually hurting their business.
Yep.
They've saved themselves, thousands of dollars in advertising because they were told by this real estate coach to do it and wasting so much time on these ridiculous ads that they do not convert. They used to, they don't convert anymore.
But it's all changed. Everything
all
and
changed.
and these guys because these guys are doing it
Day.
social media, they're doing it as their primary business.
Correct.
They know so much that even if you just get a little bit that you glean from what they're talking about and just implement little things, it can make tremendous differences in your business. And I think that's the biggest thing, is because you can also get there and you can go, oh man, there's no way I could ever get to where they're at. And then what's cool is they show their journey.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they were just like me. They just made a decision and they became consistent and they've had a plan and they moved forward with it. And that's the difference, I feel, is that you see the possibilities where I feel like other platforms, especially with real estate, is more rah and
you
one of
can
my-
do it, Joe.
yeah,
You
you're
just
like
have
the
to
best.
believe in
and-
yourself. You just gotta believe. Just to be your authentic self, and you'll
Yeah.
sell.
Yeah, you'll be great at it. And it's like, come on, really? One of my favorite ones from last year was actually from Zach King, his keynote, and he shared
failures.
all of the years of his failure. And I was like, who does that?
I did that. How I failed my way to 100,000 subscribers.
Yes.
That was my talk.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing is do you go to these conferences and does anyone tell you their failures? No, besides you and Zach King. No, everybody is like, oh, I'm
the
this
greatest.
and I made this and he did it in a way that was inspiring because he didn't give up.
Yeah.
And then because he didn't give up, he found through his passion a way to just
blow it out of the water.
blow it
Mhm.
up.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like everyone thinks, oh, he just came out of nowhere. And it's like,
He had 6 failed businesses.
he didn't come out of nowhere. He was working it. And then he finally understood and then it took off. And I think that's the takeaway is in real estate, it's tough. You get kicked. We have rule changes. We have this, we have that. We have all these obstacles. And it's like, if you want to be successful, you've got to find a way to navigate it. But sometimes there's people that have already done that trail before you. And it's like, why take the rocky road when I can go down this really smooth path that someone that actually knows what they're doing
Mhm.
and they've cleared all the obstacles. I just have to follow this path and it's still going to be work and it's still going to take time, but it's going to be, the results are going to be way faster and with way less headache than trying to figure it out yourself. And then, because a lot of you guys, that's what they did, is they had to figure it out. And they're like, oh, there's if I would have known this. And that's what a lot of them teach. They're like, I'm telling you this because I didn't know this.
Yeah, I
And
think the other thing
it's
to keep in mind is that everyone's journey is going to be different, and it's going to
Right.
click for people sooner,
And their goals are different too.
or their goals are different, or it's going to click for some sooner, and or it's going to click for some later on. So
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a baby in the middle of it.
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes life happens. Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of life, let me just I need to go. My toddler's crying. Let me go get him. I'll hop back in just a sec.
Sure. We're gonna put her behind here. We'll just move her. Oh, there, you already did it.
Oh, look at that.
Look at you're a genius. Do we have any
We
channel
did not-
reviews?
We do not have any channel reviews. So if there's people watching that
Yeah,
want
if
to
you have any
review,
question, if you want to, if you
do
want
a
a
live
question,
one.
yeah, we'll even put the link to the stream, and you can come on here live if you want to show your beautiful mug.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And
you know,
if you
I'm
don't, it's fine too. We're happy to talk. But yeah, if you do have a channel and you want to be brave, put it in the chat and we'll pull it up and talk about it.
Yep. I will tell you this. If no matter what social media conference you go to, I will tell you to bring a book like this. Bring a book like this and write when every time you go to a speaking, even if you're going to buy the replays, because you'll buy the replays, you say you're going to watch them, and then you don't
And then
watch
you
them.
don't.
Take notes, because if you take notes, then you're more likely to go ahead and rewatch it, because you took those notes and you're like, what did I mean by that? What did that mean? So then you watch the replay again, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that was it. Okay. And then you end up writing more notes.
Yep.
That I always take a book like this every single time and I write notes for each thing. And I know this is about social media marketing, but I want to be very clear. There has been a uptick of certain advertisers that are trying to push you to do YouTube ads for your real estate business. I want you to be very clear in understanding if they understand what makes a good ad on YouTube. Because most of the time when it comes to YouTube and ads, you know, as a viewer, what happens. They wait for that counter to come down. They're not even listening. They tune out and they click off. You have to make those ads very specific. If you're only making ads to drive traffic to your channel, you're wasting your money. Do not, I repeat, do not do that, period. Okay. Sorry, I had to get on a little high horse there.
Sean asks a question. He says, hey guys, I did another live stream today and realized that almost 15 minutes of it, the beginning 15 minutes, my mic was muted. What should I do?
Ooh, I know the answer to this. Do you want me to answer it?
Go for it.
Okay, so in YouTube, there is something called YouTube Editor, and there's tons of tutorials on how to use this. You can actually clip out that section of the live stream. It takes some time for it to render out, but you know, if you don't have a lot of traffic on that channel and there wasn't anybody really watching, you can always remove it and do a live stream next week.
Yep.
You know, it's up to you, but I recently had a discussion on a live stream that got really heated in the section that I needed to take it out because I knew if people that watched it on the replay, it was going to cause
Problems.
commotion. So I cut that section out and it went right back up again. It took 12 hours, but it was no longer there.
Yeah.
And
that's inside of YouTube itself. It's like you don't have to download the video or anything. You go in, you can trim it, and then it'll be updated.
Yeah. So Creators Corner, is that it? Is that the Creators Corner? They have a tutorial on how to do it. There's a bunch of YouTubers that do it too, but they drag out the information. Just go to the Creators Corner.
Yeah, just go in and you can watch it. Rebecca, you're back.
Oh, look, she made her look. She
Got the baby.
It's a human she made.
I went ahead and went in my daughter's room because the toddler is the noisier one right now.
So like she was on a live stream and she was asking a bunch of questions, and then later on I got these pictures and they're like, oh, I just had the baby.
We're like, wait a second, you were on the live stream?
You hung out with us? And then you decided just to go ahead and have a baby and then have a conversation with me. That's fantastic.
That's dedication right
Well,
there.
if the pictures, I think it was delayed because he was born on the 7th of August. So if y'all were doing it on the 8th, it was just a little delayed.
Oh, okay. Well, then I feel better about that. I have 14 views so far. I would cut it out. Just cut it out. Just cut out
go
that
into the
section.
editor.
Chop it out. Chop.
Snippet.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is going to be our new time. We will be doing this at 1:30 Central Time, 12:30 Mountain Time. What is that? That's what time? 1:30. It's 2:30.
2:30 Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get those time zones up.
There's too many time zones. I always ask, what time is it on Mountain Standard again?
If I could only attend one day of Vid Summit, which day would you recommend? Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep. Wednesday's got the
Wednesday's the full day because you usually show up Tuesday afternoon. They get you all registered and checked in, and then they have like a little welcome after party, and then Wednesday is like the conference day starts, and Thursday's good too.
Good mingling day.
Yeah, but Wednesday's the day if you're gonna do it.
Yep. And then if you go the last day, which is Thursday, that's the day that all the vendors that have all their stuff sit in there, like give it all away.
Yeah, they don't want to haul it back. So they're like, you want a light? Here you go. I ended up with like a bunch of lights. I'm like, this is amazing.
I got a camera bag that I love. I got some lights. What else have I? I've gotten so much stuff. I got these lights before. I got cups and sweatshirts. That was the thing I loved more than anything because they were the softest sweatshirts. I got a ton of sweatshirts, but the first day they're real stingy. They hold on.
Yeah, you just gotta wait till they're worn out, and then they're like, okay, what?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely Wednesday would be the day. And then if you don't really like crowds too much, Thursday the crowds have thinned out quite a bit. So yeah, but I don't know. Will you be there on Friday too? I'm there all day Friday.
Yeah, Friday too, because we have the mastermind or whatever. So mastery
session,
whatever it is.
Yep, we do. So you're more than welcome to hang out with us. Matter of fact, Joe and I are meeting with the students and some other real estate agents right before the cocktail party. It's not really a cocktail. It's like it's like
an after party or their before launch party or something like that. I don't know what they call it, but it's like everybody kind of goes and hangs out and just has a good time.
Steph's going to try to make it.
They do have like a really good Brazilian steakhouse though. That's like walking distance, like within less than like 2 minutes away from it. So
you missed the call. Sean's like, we're in Texas. Where can we get Texas barbecue?
Oh, I've sent Christina a couple of recommendations.
Listen, I have nothing against Texas barbecue or steak. I'm down with either one of those.
Yeah, and like that's the coolest part about so there's the social media marketing world is on the West Coast. Vid Summit is central time basically, and then the people of video is East Coast. And I haven't seen an advertisement for them in a while, so I don't know if they're doing that one anymore. It was always a smaller conference, which made it cool. Yeah, because it was so small. You literally could sit right down with all the people, all the people you've been watching on YouTube forever. They were just hanging out. It was like it felt like almost like you're going to camp.
Yeah.
So
I've never been to that one, but I've been to Social Media Marketing World and Vid Summit, and they're both amazing and well worth it. I definitely think that if you're really wanting to get into YouTube and you really want to learn how to create more business with YouTube, then the Vid Summit hands down is the one to go to if you have only one to choose from. Social Media Marketing World's great, nothing against it. It's just that the main focus is YouTube, and then it's just branched out because there are a lot of people who are like, well, I'm making a ton of money on TikTok, or I'm doing it on Snapchat, or I'm doing this or that. And so now it's opened up even more, but still the majority of people are going to really walk you through how to, like, what makes a good YouTube channel, how you can monetize it. That's the cool thing, is you realize, oh, I've been thinking like just paid ads were like the only way I could make money doing this. And then you have people that are like, oh yeah, I barely have a following, but I'm making a ton of money doing it with this other thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, maybe we should do a social media conference just for real estate agents.
that's not a bad idea, actually. I think that there's some. Kevin's going to be there. All right, Kevin.
Yes, I was like, oh, I'm excited. I didn't know you were going, Kevin. That's awesome. I'll see you there. Yeah, he's just started on his YouTube journey, so
it's good stuff.
I'm excited for your mind to be blown. Everybody that I've ever known that's gone to that, like all of the students that went last year were like, I'm definitely coming back, man. Like I had no idea. Like there's so much for me to do. And then the possibilities of what they could do with their channel is, I mean, we say it all the time, but for them to actually physically see it.
Yeah, they see it for themselves, and then they're like, I actually need, my brain hurts. Mine does, even like you get back and you're like, I have to decompress now, because there's so much information that you get. And that's why it's so critical, like taking good notes and having stuff, because it helps you remember, because you just get like overloaded. And like we talk about, like sometimes, like when we say things, people are like, oh, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. This is like drinking Niagara Falls. Like there's so much stuff that you're just like,
yeah, and some of you are gonna have to put it the wayside. Like, like I always say, expand yourself, but be focused. Expand wide, but be focused.
Yeah, like go in, like, because the cool thing is on the website, it'll have the speakers, give some bios. They talk about like things that they're going to be talking about. So identify like the things that resonate with you and like what you want to do, and go watch it. Who cares if it's not like Christina was saying, like my favorite ones to go to are not the ones that are on the main stage. It's the ones that I went to this AI one last year, and there was like 20 of us in the room, and the guys that were talking were so smart. And I think it was at the same time Mr. Beast was speaking. So like there was like
that together.
Yeah. There's like nobody there. And I'm like, I'm going here. And it was incredible to listen to like these guys talk, and like, because I'm super interested in that stuff. And I'm like, that is one way that I could like totally like enhance my business is understanding AI better.
Yeah, and you know how many people don't understand AI? There was a post in Lab Coat Agents, and they were like, who's using AI in their business? And I don't know how many posts I saw at like, AI just makes it sound like AI. And I mean, AI is not there yet. It's just a waste of time. And I'm like, you guys are out of your minds.
Yeah, your heads are in the sand. You don't know.
And they're very limited on the usage of AI and how it can help them. That's thing. Like they're very like, they see it for the surface level of it, and they they plug in a few things and they're like, this is stupid, like this isn't giving me what I want. But because they don't understand what they're using, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. And if you're only giving it crap, it's only going to give you crap, and and
that's the biggest thing, I think, is people use ChatGPT just for an example, like Google, and it's not Google. It's not meant to be like Google. And that's the thing. People are like, well, it gave me wrong information. I'm like, well, you didn't ask it the right questions. You didn't give it like the context. You didn't give it like information. And they're like, why would I have to do that? Like, it's just because
to read your mind.
Yeah. And the thing that's crazy is once you do that, then it's way better than Google or any of the other things out there.
I know it's such a great tool, but so you can learn that at these social media conferences.
Yeah.
Living in Austin, Texas says yes, please. What are we yes pleasing to?
I think he's yes pleasing to the real estate, the real estate video conference that you guys are wanting to put on.
Oh yes, please. Maybe we need to talk to. We'll need to talk to Justin and Daryl and see how we pull that together. Maybe we could do it in Utah.
We could get Justin to speak at it. That would be awesome.
Oh, I know, right? So you guys don't know who this is. One of those guys that's in the background. His name is Justin Smith, It's probably one of the smartest YouTube strategists that you've never heard of.
Yep. You're like in the back room, like giving advice to people that have millions of subscribers already.
Yeah, you were right. Thank God for Rebecca.
Yeah. We're both like, what? Yes, please. What?
This comment kind of popped on when you were talking about it. So that's why I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that our space could definitely use something like that.
Yeah.
A correct one, a good one. Because you know what ends up happening is that I've seen other real estate agents put on real estate conferences, but then they have real estate people speaking at those conferences.
Right. Which is
it's good to have their perspective.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's room for both, right? Mm-hmm. So if we were to put it together, and you guys can tell me in the chat, if we were to do something like this, I think it's important to show somebody that's been successful with Instagram that is a real estate agent and to share their story and how they did it. And then have an expert in that, which isn't a real estate agent, just is an expert on Instagram, and whether that's Instagram ads or Instagram posts organically, whatever that is. So that way you can see both perspectives, how you could be a real estate agent, be successful at it, and then use some principles that are like almost foundational on making a better, Instagram, page for yourself. The same with TikTok. You have somebody like Glenda Baker on there, but then you have an expert that's in TikTok that can talk on more on the fundamentals. Like we can talk about how she did it because she's done it. I mean, she's really done it. And then, then we have something on top of that. I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it starts out just kind of like Vid Summit, where you have common goals of people that want to get together and want to enhance and grow their business by sharing information that they've learned. Because there's a lot of that could be done.
Yeah, and if you start off saying, how many units did you sell last month? You get kicked out.
Yeah, you're fired.
You get kicked out automatically.
If you say GCI, you're out.
Yeah, if those letters come out of your mouth, what's your GCI? What's your GCI? Yeah. Out.
Or subscriber count. Yeah. I think that's also a vanity metric too.
Yeah.
I think there definitely could be something that is something to that. But again, I agree. I think it needs to be outside of not just real estate. It needs to have people that are actually not in the industry, so that, because I think sometimes agents also like do things and then when you tell them, hey, you shouldn't be doing it this way, they argue with you. And they
100%.
And they say, well, no, this is the way. And it,
or my coach told me.
Yeah.
Coach told me.
And it's like, okay, but like, we're really wanting to help, or, and then you have people that actually know what they're talking about. That makes a big difference. But I think agents, for whatever reason, I feel like we're more stingy, and it's a little bit like, I don't know if we feel it like a personal attack or something. I don't know.
I think it's competitiveness.
Yeah, could be. We're very competitive.
I think it comes down to being competitive. And then when you feel like you've found something that works, you're unwilling to change because you're like, this works, but it could work so much better.
Right.
It could be much bigger than that. And they get very stubborn and stuck in their ways.
Yeah. Or the blinders on, and it's like, well, I'm limiting like what I could actually do with this. Right. I see that a lot, actually.
Yeah. I've seen it a lot. And, like they're like, this works. I already know what I'm doing.
I think it also comes down to personality types too, because there's a lot of high, like D, like very driven people, and they tend to kind of kind of very, very like insensitive to any type of criticism or feedback. Like they're very.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. That for whatever reason, I think sometimes we do have the industry can, like any industry, but I think that maybe real estate's pump them out a little bit more of like ego driven, because their face is everywhere, or they've done this or that, and if a lot of YouTubers, it's a really good point, Rebecca. A lot of YouTubers, like when you watch them on YouTube. They're all energetic and they're all like this and that. And then when you meet them and you talk with them, they're really like, they're almost like an introvert, and they don't like talking. And you're like, wait a second. Like I just watching you, and you were like, and it's like the switch that flips. But a lot of them are very reserved, and you don't get that as much as like real estate agents, where we're a little bit more bossy and pushy and outspoken. And
that has to do with training too, because
it could be. It definitely could be.
You're trained with all these scripts. You're trained to be pushy. You're trained this is how you close the deal kind of stuff.
Right.
And we don't come from a collaborative, they'll say that like, oh, I'm going to show you everything. Come to my class, and they act all collaborative, but they're not. They're
right. Right. They're not. And so maybe that's part of what the industry needs, like, where there needs to be some disruption is that, because we talk about this all the time, that you don't have competitors, you have collaborators. And that's a big difference from what a lot of people are taught, is like, that your lead, you work it, like you don't share. And when you find something that works, you never tell anyone else. And it's like,
there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah.
And anytime that we've had students are like, but they're in the same market as me, and I don't want to post that because I'm afraid they're going to steal my content. And I'm like, you have totally missed. Go watch
everything
week 1
we just
again.
talked about.
Go watch week 1 and week 2 again, because we don't play that game.
Yeah.
We don't play that.
And then what's cool though is they get it, and then they start collaborating, and it's like, oh, they got on my live stream with me, and they did this, and that's what's so cool, is because it opens up your mind, and you're able to like think bigger. And that, I think that's really probably the biggest thing out of anything that we've talked about, is when you go to this kind of a conference, it just opens your mind and you think a lot different than when you got there. I think that's the takeaway.
Absolutely. It was the one thing that I could say. I even posted it not too long ago, that it was like the most life-changing moment that I had as an adult, other than having children. It was like, that was it. Like I looked at things so completely differently, because everything I had been taught was pretty much the opposite. Once I went to that, I was like, oh, no wonder why I'm struggling. No wonder why this is so hard. And then the cool part about our groups that we have created is that their friendships do evolve. Like you say, you have them on the live streams, and then you have real connections with people. When people call for that referral, you say, oh yeah, I have somebody, I know them, and you do know them. And then you can send them over to their channel or whatever, and they're friends with you. And all of our students end up being collaborators. I've seen it like several times. I'm like, such proud mama.
We just connected them, and they were like, oh, I don't know if I like this idea. And then all of a sudden they see it, and it's like, it makes sense. And then everybody's like on board, and everybody's so helpful. And I think that's the coolest thing, is when you see, and this is more like on the Discord and stuff, but you see people commenting, and then other people giving great advice and helping them along the way. I love seeing that stuff.
Me too. Like a lot of times I don't comment because I like to see the students interact with each other. I see the posts and I'm like, oh, that was good information. But if they don't say something, I'll be like, hold on a minute. Let me dial that back. Let me correct that without. But if they got it all right, I'm just going to step back, because they're learning. It's great. It's great. Yeah. Oh, you know what? If anybody in the audience isn't a part of our course, we are just now into week 2. We're getting into week 2. There is time for you to join the course. There is time for you to join the course. So you're more than welcome to join. Just go to Real Estate Video Geeks. The link is in the description. And then you can sign up for it there. And you can also win an opportunity for lifetime coaching. Yep. Now, you win an opportunity. Doesn't mean you're going to win.
Doesn't mean you get it, but you got a pretty, 1 in 3 chance, or 4 chance, or something like that.
But we do give 4 weeks of coaching after the course is over with. And it's live coaching. It isn't,
It's not pre-recorded or any of that stuff.
Right.
You don't turn into AI bots or anything.
No, everything, all the
Joe's like,
I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Stop it, Joe. All the course material has been pre-recorded, but once a week, Joe and I get with you as a student, and then we have a very open, very live discussion with you of all your questions about that specific week. So it's always there. And then after the 8 weeks is over, then like Joe and I said, you have 4 weeks of that live discussion, and then you get to meet all the other students that already went through the Real Estate Video Geeks course. I will also tell you that 8-week course is yours for life. So there's many students, and Rebecca included, that have gone through the 8-week course, is already in the advanced coaching, but still will go ahead and take that original 8 weeks again. I don't know of one student, not one so far, that has gone through the 8-week course and was able to get it all in one go. All this stuff, it's a lot. We give you a lot of information. So you have to kind of take your time with it. And I know everybody wants instant gratification, but I want you, and Joe wants you, and same with Rebecca. We want you to have a successful channel that's going to bring you so much business, you don't know what to do with it. And so what we are teaching is a lot of what you had to learn. Now you have to unlearn. And now you're going to have to learn how to be a content creator that creates the best business for you. And all of those little steps take time. And once you have that first video that takes off, you're starting to understand how this all works. That phone starts ringing off the hook. Then you have a whole new set of problems. How do I handle all these leads coming in? And we address that too. That's the I always laugh every single time a student starts, that all of a sudden that train starts going down the track, and then whoosh, they're like, how do you handle all the leads? And I just giggle because I'm like, that is amazing. That's music to the ears.
Yep, that's what we talk about. We're like, if you follow what we teach and you are dedicated, you will get there. And that's the best thing, is when the calls are, I have a whole new problem now. I thought I was learning how to get views on YouTube, and now I'm realizing I need a good network of agents that I can refer out.
Yeah.
And then you still go to those social media conferences because of your whole new problems, right?
Yep.
There's whole new solutions to those whole new problems because you have so many leads coming in. And some design by a real estate agent, video software, whatever, would work. Don't get me wrong, but you're probably going to get it better if you went to a social media conference and got that software from them, and those details on how to do it from them. I can't say enough about going. I just get so ticked on how much money I wasted on so many real estate conferences. And then I come home and I'm like, oh, I have some more open house flags. I got a good deal on this binder maker for my CRMs. I see, whatever.
So Kevin's asking, what day and time is the new student course? So it's today, it's Thursdays, and we're doing it at 3 Central, 2 Mountain. I think, Kevin, you're back east, right?
Yeah, he would be at 4:00. So in 30 minutes, 30 minutes, Kevin. If you want to pop on there, you're more than welcome to.
We did this by design. We adjusted our live stream so that we can do the live stream. We do it a little bit earlier, and then that way we're not getting into other like later in the evening for the coaching. And we feel like this is our new and good
improved
time. Yes, new and improved. Gives us a little bit of time, and then we hop on in about 30 minutes to the students that signed up for the course.
Rebecca, are you going to show us the baby's face?
Let's see. He's asleep, but let's see if I can.
Ooh. There he is. Oh.
Wait a second. What happened here?
I don't know. Don't show me. Ew.
Hold on here. Hold on. I'm moving this.
Not me. Let's put her here. Okay, there we go.
There
Look at him. What a cute little peanut. We love him. I really wanted her to name him Joe, but she said no.
He looks very comfortable. I for whatever reason, I like babies to me are always like, man, they just look so comfortable. I wish someone would just carry me around all day.
Oh, I know. Like when they get into that little sack.
And it's like, oh man, they just look so comfy.
Like I would love to be wrapped up with a little sack and somebody carry me around. I'd be like, where I don't have to face the world. Right. I can just be carried around everywhere. Hook me up. I totally do it. Totally do it. All right. With that, everybody, I want to say if we haven't convinced you enough, it doesn't have to be Vid Summit. Joe and I have like
We don't get anything from it.
not a thing. Like we don't barely any kudos. You know? Not even a thank you. But we do really want you to really think about going to a social media conference.
Yeah.
It will change your business immensely. And don't do it the ones that are just for real estate agents. I want you to go to one that is just specifically for social media.
Yeah,
You're gonna learn a
marketing
lot.
in general. It's going to be so much better.
So much better. I can't say enough about it, So
I
all right,
concur.
everybody. I concur. Should we end with some
Yeah, let's get our music going.
I use the ending language way too soon, man.
Everyone's bouncing.
Yeah, they're all going.
Remember, we're supposed to just talk and then just shut the live off.
I know. All the time.